Hello, folks. Welcome back to World War II TV and another one of my impromptu, suddenly announced, please can you help me shows. So, long story short, I have been working on a book or researching a book on the Falaise Gap for the last year or so, which I have just decided this weekend at the pub with Colin that I'm going to put on the back burner. Basically, it's a massive, great project. 4 different languages, Polish, French, American, British, massive, great areas. And I've been struggling with my parameters of how to define the battle. Instead, I'm focusing on another book right now, something I've also been working on the last couple of years, which is a smaller, more manageable sized project. And I'm going to basically put the request out to you lot to help. What's the point of having a channel with 75,000 subscribers and another 80 to 90,000 regular viewers if I can't tap into their knowledge and the fact that you all live in different places around the world? So hello to everybody. The book I'm going to be doing now is going to be on the Battle of Haye du Puits. It may end up being called something like the Cinq Monts, the 5 Mountains. If you've been on a tour with me in the past, like Willie's and Nicky are in viewers today, you'll know what I'm talking about. So this is a map I put on the screen there that I will improve upon with my research, but it basically shows you there I'm going to be writing about. So Haye du Puits is a crossroads town, kind of towards the bottom of the Cotentin Peninsula. So it's sort of from hills near there. You can see across west to Jersey, and you can see across sort of northeast to Saint-Marie-de-Mont. So it's right across the middle of the peninsula there. And the American 8th Corps are having to push their way past Haye du Puits. You can see on the map there where it says initial corps objectives. This is in the first week of July 1944. I don't think it's a battle that has been written about before, at least not in one as one campaign, so to speak. It's been written about in books about the 82nd Airborne and the divisional histories, etc., etc. But what I'm going to try and do is make an exciting thriller, kind of gripping read that takes you through this combat for about a week or so. And I won't kind of give away what I'm working at, but I feel that there's a big connection to the planning of Operation Cobra. So people like Bradley will come into the conversation. And JD, I took JD down there and Eric, whatever that was last year sometime, and it's got all the things you need. So I've already kind of decided how our book's going to open. It opens with a guy who was in the 712th Tank Battalion who loses one leg. The next day he loses a second leg. He was recommended for the Medal of Honor, got the Distinguished Service Cross in the end. You know, hand-to-hand fighting with Germans for tanks. It's the Das Reich 2nd Panzer Division are involved in the latter stage of this battle. There's the 15th Fallschirmjäger-Regiment fighting on Mont Castre. You're talking about a battle that the 90th Division suffered towards 5,000 casualties in a few days. The 79th Division, similar numbers, about 3,000 over a few days. 82nd Airborne are so spent at the end of this campaign, they have to go back to England to refit, and the 8th Infantry Division come in to replace them. It is a battle of high ground. It's a battle of hedgerows and bocage. The Germans have the advantage of field forward observers on hilltops. These 5 hills that surround Haye du Puits, respectively Hill 84, Hill 95, Hill 121, Hill 122, and Hill 131. Although, according to modern measurements, Hill 95 is now only 93 meters. It's lost a couple of meters in height as it's got older, or more likely, it's been measured more accurately since World War II. Anyway, how can you guys help? Well, this is what I'm going to be telling you about over the next few minutes. It's a photo of troops in the Haye du Puits. There's quite a lot of information in terms of photos out there. So, I'm in Normandy, obviously. I can get down to the battlefield within a 45-minute drive. That's the easy bit for me. What I can't always get to is archives. And what I'm also trying to do right now is build up a database of accounts to work from. Now, I've already got a lot, but there's more. So in the description of this channel, yes, Willie, they may have blown 2 meters off the top of the hill, is the list of units I'm working on. Now, obviously, there's certain amounts of things that are kind of readily available. The after action reports are available. I've got regimental documents already. Some of the morning reports I'll be getting. I've got situation maps, 12th Army maps, etc., etc., etc. But the thing that I don't know what I'm missing is the things that aren't necessarily listed. Now, obviously, I mean, mostly speaking to my American viewers, but that doesn't mean that people around the world can't help as well, because maybe you live next to an archive, maybe you live next to a university that has a World War II archive. Well, if you happen to get a spare moment over the next few weeks or months and you want to pop in and say, do you have anything on Haye du Puits in your archives? I would be very grateful. Maybe something will turn up, maybe something won't turn up. For Brits, I'm particularly interested in any RAF meteorological surveys, if they existed, because seems to be the odd thing about this location, because there was very little air power, air support in this campaign. The weather was basically shit all through July in Normandy, which is how affecting the stalling of other Allied pushes, notably Goodwood and other things like further to the east. But these 5 hills, which you can kind of see on the map there, sort of circling Haye du Puits, perhaps you can't see because it's not very clear, but right in the middle there, you can see the contour lines there. In between those, you have certain amounts of causeways with floods either side. JD did a fantastic video on this because I took him to the right location, and he went off on typical JD style and told a great story. And what was happening in July is the mornings, fog would gather over these kind of causeways and then kind of be trapped in the kind of basin of these 5 hills. And it meant that there was very little air support during this battle. So I'm hoping that maybe somewhere out there is some kind of RAF or US Army Air Force study where they say, yeah, try flying over this area. It's always full of fog. I mean, I kind of know that from local legend, but if I could find some kind of, smoking gun, so to speak, that says that's the particular problem with flying, because the 9th Air Force, 8th Air Force, 2nd Tactical Air Force are flying in July, but they don't seem to be flying much over this particular area. So we'll have a look. Thanks, Dan, for having a look in the archive. So the units are listed below. So going back to the kind of thing I'm looking for, there was that phase maybe 20 years ago where lots of people who knew a World War II veteran or families would sit the veteran down and they type out memoirs, and sometimes they got self-published, sometimes just half a dozen copies got produced, but ended up copies being existing in like historical societies and town libraries and things like that. That's the kind of thing I'm after. I've got already a lot of 82nd Airborne stuff. I've got quite a lot of 90th Division stuff, particularly strong on the 712th Tank Battalion. It's the 79th Division I have at the moment the least amount of stuff. I've got the regimental size thing. So maybe, just maybe, someone out there has sitting on their shelf an unpublished memoir by a 79th Division artillery spotter or an infantryman or whatever it would be. So that's the kind of what I'm looking for, really. So if you are from the Texas, Oklahoma area, that's where the 90th Division historically did a lot of their recruiting, the tough hombres, the TO in their insignia. Of course, in World War II, draftees come in from all over the place, but particularly in the Texas, Oklahoma area, there may be a historical society near you. Maybe you know someone who runs the society, or you're part of the society, and you can say, do you happen to know anybody from this area, from the 90th Division, who wrote a memoir? Because what happens is they don't often call their memoirs by a title that can be found on Google. They don't often say like an infantryman in the 90th Division. One I've got is called Boot Prints. So I've already got that one. And so it might just be listed online as the title. The title might be called Bloody Hell, That Was a Shit Battle, or Lots of Germans Are Shooting at Me, Mum. I don't know what the titles may be, but the point is you out there might be able to help me. So 79th Division are a lot of connections to Kansas, Tennessee, that kind of area. But again, people drafted from all around the country. The 8th Infantry don't seem to have a particular, regional base in World War II. They come in sort of replacing the 82nd Airborne, who go back after their battle ends at the bottom of Hill 90 or the top of Hill 95. The 8th Infantry come in, so that's more July and August. So the 8th Infantry are kind of towards the latter part of the book. But 8th Infantry accounts, anything there would be useful. There's also the 106th Cavalry Regiment. I say all these units are listed below. So I want you to make one of those the title of your book. Holy shit, there's Germans shooting at me. That would be quite good, wouldn't it? Not another shell, Mum. I'll come up. I was having a meeting online with a potential publisher this morning. So this is plowing right ahead, this project. It's definitely going to happen. I'm just at the gathering of sources. But the real problem, And this is where people like Andreas and other European viewers might be able to help, is an absolute dearth of German sources. Now, I've got, thanks to Niels and his forthcoming brilliant book on Normandy, I've got some, I know which units were where. This map is not Niels's map. This is an older map. Niels's maps will be better than this. But the units are 243rd, 353rd, 77th Infantry Divisions, and particularly the 15th Fallschirmjäger-Regiment. Now, from already the work I've done, Greg Way, who's been on the channel talking about the Fallschirmjäger, he's looked into archives he has access to. There's nothing of a surviving 15th Regiment Fallschirmjäger, because basically not many of them walked off Montcastre after the battle there, and if they did, they were then embroiled in more fighting over the next couple of weeks down towards the Cobra sort of start line. So I don't know that there's going to be much out there. I have been advised by my potential publisher to put an advert in German newspapers, which I will pursue. He did that for a book he wrote, and he ended up with 35 people contact him. That was from a much wider battle. That was from the Battle of Stalingrad, which I appreciate is a much bigger battle than this battle here of Haye du Puits. But you never know. Someone out there might just know someone who was in the 15th Fallschirmjäger-Regiment, or they may know an archive, or there may be a library. I don't know. I won't know what might be out there until I ask you people to go out there and have a look, and you come back and find out what there is or isn't. But the infantry divisions, who knows? There might just be some memoir there. There might be something. So I'm asking anybody who lives in Germany or the Netherlands or somewhere around there, or has relatives there, or has access to German archives online, that because I don't read German, have a look, because there may be something out there. I'm planning on this book not having much in the way of German sources, in the sense of low down, privates and corporals and sergeants, and I have enough on the Allied side to make it work. But, if I could just find one diary by some German who was perhaps in the 243rd Division, who, could just place his movements and say something about facing the 79th Division, that would, make this a better finished book. So, as I said to my publisher this morning, potential publisher, we haven't signed any deals yet, I might as well speak to you guys, because that's the resource I have that that some authors don't have. I've got you guys out there looking. So Andreas is saying he can have a look if there's a book in German. So 15th Fallschirmjäger-Regiment, but any of the divisions. Again, folks, the lists, the units I'm particularly looking for are in the description below. Another thing, although I have some, is civilian accounts, French civilian accounts. Now the issue is, or the complication is Haye du Puits was bombed on I think it was June the 7th. It might have been June the 6th. I think it was June the 7th. And a lot of the people from the town actually evacuated off to the western coast, places like Pirou, which is why, when I was down there yesterday, there aren't that many names of civilian deaths on the war monument there for what was a reasonably sized town. I mean, it's bigger than Saint-Mère-Église. It's not quite the size of Bayeux. But it's like 20 names for World War II. Now, you find villages with that many numbers of names killed. It's because a lot of the villagers had evacuated and spent the rest of the war up until after landings on the western coast. But some were there. And, maybe there's just that account of someone who was there and witnessed the bombardments on June the 7th, or was there later, or even came back to the town after war and was part of the reconstruction. Obviously, I'm going down to Les Archives de la Manche, the departmental archives that cover this region, and I'm going to go down there, and I've already seen their list of World War II documentation. They've got some gendarmerie reports. They've got some what else have they got? They've got the requisitions of buildings and things like that. So they might have some more stuff there. So that would be quite cool. I'm going to have a look down there. But basically, that's it. It's I'm going to put you out to go and look up stuff for me. So the things that are more likely to be found for you American viewers are unpublished or low number published veterans' memoirs. Even frankly, if it's just one line, even if they just say, we had to fight near the area of Haye du Puits, my God, it was a nightmare. Even something like that could be just enough to flesh things out. But there might be more. So I've got some, but it's the stage now. I'm putting the request out, because the worst thing that can happen, or one of the worst things that can happen to an author, is you've just got your book published, and then someone comes up and says, my dad was in that unit. Here's a 700-page diary he wrote, including all the locations he was at, and all the, that's potentially, very annoying. Oh God, why couldn't I include that in my book? So there we are. Unpublished memoirs, published memoirs that are out of print. So, you know, have a look through your bookshelves, have a look through your things on your hard drive, speak to people you know, historical societies, libraries that you need there. There we go. So that's it. And someone, Willie has already found the Met charts for July 1944. See, already we're getting stuff in there. And I've got a database of archives already. In case you are new to the channel and you're saying this is a book you're writing, this will be number 3. The first book, shameless plugging now, is this one here, Angels of Mercy. That's about 2 medics in the 101st Airborne on D-Day. You can buy it at all your favorite online retailers. But I realize in the 10 years since I wrote that, going from writing about 1 village and 20 people to my plan was to do a Falaise Gap book, which is about 250,000 combatants. It's a big project. So this is a slightly more manageable size project. My second book, which is a lockdown project, where I wrote the text for a book of a battlefield then and now photos, or not so much then and now photos of the battlefields and today and in the past, is this one here, World War II battlefields, battle sites. That's my name there, Paul Woodadge there. So that's available. It's in four or five different languages now, which is quite good, although it was a one-off payment, so I don't get any more royalties anymore. So it doesn't really matter how many sell now. I've had my money, banked it, spent it, paid the tax on it. Anyway, there you are. That's it. 79th Division, 90th Division, 89th Division, 79th, 90th, 8th Division, and 82nd Airborne. I've got a lot of 82nd Airborne, but you know, you never know. There might be something there. Not so much the PIRs, maybe the artillery units. I've got the diaries of I think it was the 301st Airborne Field Artillery Battery. I've got their coordinates of their firing position. Maybe again, someone you know, some relative was in that unit, and it might be a newspaper article. It might be a reference. Something small can lead to something even bigger. Signed copies of Angels of Mercy. I always have some with me when I'm in Normandy and June at events and stuff. And I will have some with me at We Have Ways in July. It's the shipping these days is an absolute pain in the ass, because shipping books from France cost twice the cost of the cover price of the book to send them out there, and they tend to get lost and stuff. So I don't like sending them. The French postal system can be a bit of a bum hole at times. So there we are. I'll put you to work. Haye du Puits, July 1944. Anything that you may think I'd be interested in, just let me know. And I've put the link to the Contact Me page on my website. The problem with putting an actual direct email address on a YouTube page is you end up loads of spam. So by sending you via the Contact Me page, it lessens the chance of spam entering my my inbox and slowing me down. So there we are. That is my little plea to you. Help me with my book project. And as for my regular shows, I'm back again later today at 7 p.m. UK time. Barnaby Jameson is on to talk about Nancy Wake and Dennis Rake, 2 SOE agents who are in the Auvergne area of France in the time leading up to and around D-Day. So we're going to be talking about how SOE ops assisted the basic concept of Operation Overlord. So there we are. I will see you all later on today. Thank you very much. Please do what you can. Check your shelves, check your libraries, check your archives. And don't forget, as always, click, like, and subscribe. Consider becoming a patron or a channel member. I will see you all later on. This is Paul Woodadge from World War II TV saying enjoy the rest of your day until I see you later on. Cheers, everybody. Bye.